Good evening. Welcome to your nightly news rundown for April 28th. It's a Monday. Republicans on Capitol Hill, both in the Senate and the House, blamed tariffs and economic policies on Donald Trump's low polling today. Now, they said this is all because Americans don't understand what Donald Trump's trying to do and that in the long run with this will be better. But I have a news flash for them. Donald Trump's poll numbers are sinking faster than a mobster with concrete shoes. Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama went so far as to say that Joe Biden did nothing, and that's the reason that Republicans and Trump are in a hole in the polls. That he's having to make a lot of decisions that nobody likes because Joe Biden refused to make decisions. Now, if you remember, Tommy Tuberville obstructed every single judge, every single general, and every single political appointee that Joe Biden put forth for consideration in the Senate. Some of them for years. So if decisions weren't being made, it's because Tommy Tuberville was being a little tiny-handed toddler tantrum thrower. Sticking with the Trump administration, Donald Trump signed 3 executive orders today. One of them requires a nationwide list of sanctuary cities and their anti-federal government policies. In the executive order, he once again threatens federal funding, which just last week was deemed unconstitutional, proving once again he's learned nothing. The other 2 executive orders, one requires all commercial truck drivers in the United States to speak English, once again targeting marginalized groups as individuals who might have moved here as refugees or to build a better life, who are learning English and might not speak it proficiently but can understand signs and read it well, won't be able to continue driving over the road as they have for a number of years. And the final executive order protects bad police. In the executive order, it says that the executive order will establish best practices at the state and local level for cities to unleash high-impact local police forces, protect and defend law enforcement officers wrongly accused and abused by state or local officials, and surge resources to officers in need with surplus military gear. Once again, militarizing the police forces that are supposed to help protect communities. Now, this requires a bigger breakdown, so I'll probably do that tomorrow when I'm not so worked up about it. After the death of Pope Francis, all of the cardinals under the age of 80 get together in a conclave, a papal conclave, to elect a new pope. The Vatican announced today that will begin on May 7th. Today was election day in Canada, and while the polls won't close for about another hour after the time I'm recording this, it's starting to look like the Liberals are going to sweep the state, knocking out the conservative wing that was expected to take power after Justin Trudeau stepped down. Now, the change from conservatism to liberalism in Canada and the win by the Liberal Party is directly related to Donald Trump's rhetoric related to Canada. So if nothing else, Donald Trump's win in the United States is reversing far-right swings in countries abroad. Talking about Donald Trump's polls, a new poll came in this evening that says 71% of Americans call the U.S. economic conditions poor, and 80% of those say they're worse off now than they were on January 20th. New details are coming out about the United States agreement with El Salvador to house individuals in the CCOP prison, with the agreement saying that the U.S. has approved $15 million in foreign affairs funds to be sent to El Salvador, with the U.S. paying a one-time maintenance fee of $10 million or about $20,000 per person sent to the facility. But so far, the United States was supposed to pay this money up front, and we've only paid about $5 million of that. Once again, Donald Trump's not paying his debts. Now, the total cost by the end of the year is expected to be around $15 million, with the president of El Salvador saying that if 9 major players in MS-13 are returned by the end of the year, he'll give year 2 at a 50% discount. Such a nice guy. With my final story of the night, Democrat Representative Sri Thanagar, a Democrat from Michigan, introduced articles of impeachment against Donald Trump today. This is the first time this year that a Democrat has written and produced articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. Now, Representative Al Green, who was censured earlier this year for disrupting Donald Trump's speech before the joint session of Congress, has said he's planning articles of impeachment as well. And Representative Ilhan Omar from Minnesota has said that she's looking at impeaching Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard over Signalgate and continued leaks. Now, Representative Thanedar said, "We cannot wait for more damage to be done. Congress must act." His articles of impeachment accuse Trump of obstruction of justice, abuse of power, usurpation of power, bribery, and corruption, mostly related to the president's consolidation of power and personal financial gains. Now, these measures are certainly going to go nowhere in a Republican-controlled House and Senate, but the posturing and the messaging of them is clear. The Democrats are getting behind impeaching Trump, and if they gain power in 2026, Donald Trump will be done. Now, this has been your nightly news roundup for April 28th. It is a Monday. Watch out tomorrow for additional stories on Trump's disruption of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Office and his executive order on the police forces. I'll be publishing those sometime in the morning or later tonight. For now, have a good night.